After 15 years of marriage, my wife left me for a younger man. Her daughter called me selfish for filing for divorce. So I gave up my parental rights and walked away. 2 years later, they want to reconnect, but I've moved on. Hello, Reddit I+ here. Let me take you back about 4 years ago, back when I still believed loyalty meant something, and family came before everything. I was married to Clarissa for 15 years. We weren't flashy. We didn't travel the world or live in some fancy mansion, but we had a solid life. I worked as a regional logistics manager for a supply chain company. Nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills, kept a roof over our heads, and gave us enough for the occasional weekend getaway. Clarissa worked part-time at a boutique. We were comfortable, or so I thought. When I met her, she had a 3-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. Chloe, her biological father, walked out before she was born. I stepped in without hesitation. I changed diapers, stayed up during fevers, attended school plays, and coached her little league soccer team when no other parent volunteered. I never once used the word stepdaughter. She was mine. At least, I believed she was. Fast forward to our 15th anniversary. I had booked a surprise dinner at the same restaurant where I proposed. I even had a new necklace for Clarissa. Nothing over the top, just something meaningful. I got home early, walked in, and heard her laughing in the bedroom. I assumed she was on a call. I should have known better. When I opened the door, I found her lying in bed, naked, with a man who couldn't have been older than 25. I was 44 at the time. He looked like a college student who accidentally wandered into someone else's life. Clarissa didn't scream or panic. She just looked at me and said, "I was going to tell you." I didn't say a word. I walked out, sat in my car, and stared at nothing for hours. The next day, she tried to spin the story like our marriage had been dead for years and that I was emotionally unavailable. Classic deflection. I kept calm and told her I'd be filing for divorce. No screaming, no begging, just done. Here's where it gets really twisted. Chloe, now 18 and heading to college, called me the day after I filed the papers. I expected confusion, maybe some sadness, but what I got was venom. "You're being selfish," she said. "You're tearing this family apart just because mom made a mistake. I thought you loved us." Us. That us stung more than anything. I raised her like she was my own, and she took her mother's side without even asking for mine. I didn't yell, I didn't fight, I just told her, "Good luck in college." Then I called my attorney. The next week, I signed away all parental rights. She wasn't biologically mine, and they made it very clear I wasn't part of their future. So I gave them exactly what they wanted. I moved out, rented a modest apartment downtown, and started over. I joined a gym, lost 30 pounds, focused on myself for the first time in years. Eventually, I changed jobs and got hired by a global shipping company, nearly doubling my income. Life didn't get easier overnight, but it did get better without them. Now, here's where the story really starts. 2 years later, almost to the day, I get a message on LinkedIn of all places. It's Chloe. "Hey, I know a lot happened, but I was wondering if we could talk." I didn't respond right away, but curiosity got the better of me. So I messaged back, "What do you want to talk about?" She said she'd rather explain in person. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop downtown. When I walked in, she stood up and gave me a hesitant smile, like a kid who broke something expensive and didn't want to admit it. I sat down. "Look," she started, "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. About everything." I didn't say anything. I wanted her to keep talking, and she did. Apparently, the guy Clarissa left me for, his name was Brandon. Turns out he was using her for money and a place to stay. He cheated on her multiple times, once with a girl Chloe's age. He left 6 months later, and Clarissa spiraled. She lost her job, started drinking. Chloe had to take on a part-time job while going to school just to keep the lights on. Then she said the line that made my stomach twist. "I thought about reaching out sooner. I even called your number once, but I hung up. I didn't know how." Then she dropped the real bombshell. "I need help." There it was. "I'm behind on tuition. They're going to drop me if I don't pay the balance by the end of the month. And mom's not in a position to help." I leaned back in my chair, looked her dead in the eye. "You want me to pay your tuition after you told me I was selfish for walking away? After you cut me off like I never mattered?" Her eyes welled up. I was angry. I didn't understand. I nodded slowly. "You're right, you didn't, but now you do. And unfortunately, lessons like this come with consequences." I stood up, left a $10 bill on the table for my coffee, and before walking out, I said one last thing. "I hope you finish school. I really do. But I won't be your backup plan. You made your choice. Now you live with it." It's been 6 months since that conversation. Haven't heard from Chloe or Clarissa again. Last I heard through mutual friends, Clarissa moved in with her sister. Chloe's working full-time to try and pay her way through school. Maybe she'll make it. Maybe she won't. As for me, I'm doing just fine. I bought a small house near the lake. Met someone new, someone who doesn't see me as disposable. She has no children, no baggage, and a heart that doesn't calculate love like a transaction. I used to think walking away meant giving up, but now I realize it meant choosing peace over chaos, and that's a choice I'll never regret. It had been 6 months since Chloe asked me to pay her tuition, and 6 months since I walked out of that coffee shop without looking back. But apparently, walking away quietly wasn't something Clarissa or her daughter were capable of respecting. 3 weeks after our little reunion, I got served. Yeah, served. A thick envelope showed up at my doorstep one evening. Inside, a petition from Clarissa's attorney claiming that I had acted as a de facto parent and had a moral obligation to assist Chloe with her educational costs. According to their lawyer, because I had knowingly assumed the role of a father figure for over a decade, I could be held financially responsible even after terminating my parental rights. I laughed. Out loud. I actually stood in my kitchen and laughed so hard I almost dropped the papers. But underneath the laughter was rage. These people threw me away. They humiliated me. Chloe called me selfish for not enduring her mother's betrayal like a doormat, and now they wanted to weaponize my love for a child who turned her back on me. Not this time. I called my lawyer. Again, this man, God bless him, was a shark. He looked over the petition, raised an eyebrow, and said, "They don't have a leg to stand on, but we can hit them back," and so we did. My attorney filed a counterclaim, demanding reimbursement for every dollar I had spent on Chloe's private school tuition, her medical expenses, her extracurriculars, everything, from age 3 to 18. We calculated every receipt, every wire transfer, every check. It totaled $196,000. Petty? Maybe. But fair? Absolutely. What happened next was glorious. Clarissa tried to fight it. Claimed it was child support, even though I wasn't the biological father. Claimed it was a gift given out of love. But once the judge saw the documentation that I had voluntarily terminated parental rights with no challenge from either of them, and that Chloe had gone no contact immediately after the divorce, he dismissed their petition. Not only that, he scheduled a hearing for my reimbursement claim. Clarissa didn't show up. Chloe did. And here's where the mask finally slipped. On the stand, Chloe tried to paint herself as an innocent bystander. Just a kid caught in the middle. "I didn't understand what was happening," she said. "I thought he was abandoning us." My lawyer calmly asked her, "Did you ever once ask him why he filed for divorce?" She hesitated. "No." "Did you ever call him to talk after he moved out?" "No." "Did you ever thank him for raising you as his own?" Silence. Then he asked, "So, if he wasn't your father when it came to love, why is he suddenly your father when it comes to money?" She looked down. No answer. The judge didn't grant my full reimbursement claim, but he did order Clarissa to pay $32,000 in back expenses related to a trust I had set up for Chloe's college tuition, which they'd both drained after the divorce without informing me. That trust was in my name, and technically, what they did bordered on financial fraud, but it didn't stop there. 2 days after the hearing, I got a knock on my door. It was Chloe. She looked different. No makeup, sweats, her hair tied in a messy bun, like she hadn't slept in days. I didn't say a word, just stood in the doorway. I didn't know things would get this bad," she whispered. I stayed silent. "My mom's been drinking a lot. She lost her job again. The apartment lease is up in 2 weeks. We have nowhere to go. I don't even care about school anymore. I feel like I lost everything." Then she broke down crying, right there on my porch. I won't lie. Something in me wanted to pull her in, tell her it would be okay. That same instinct that raised her, loved her, forgave her over and over again. But then I remembered. I remembered the day she called me selfish, the way she never once asked for my side, the way she stared at me coldly in court as her mother tried to sue me for money she wasn't owed. So I told her the truth. "I was never the one who left, but I'm also not the one you need anymore," she begged me. "Can't you just help us get back on our feet? You have money now. You're doing well. Just a loan, please." I shook my head. "I didn't walk away to punish you, Chloe. I walked away because you all showed me I was never truly part of your family. And now, I'm protecting the peace I worked so hard to build." Then softly, "You need to protect your peace too. But it starts with taking responsibility." I handed her a card with the name of a women's shelter and a local employment agency. Then I shut the door, not angrily, not cruelly, just final. Now, Clarissa filed for bankruptcy. Chloe dropped out of school and is working at a diner across town. I heard she's staying with an old high school friend on their couch. The guy Clarissa left me for, he was arrested for fraud last year. Funny how life has a way of showing you who was real, and who was just around for what you could give them. As for me, I married my fiancée last month. No drama, no betrayal, just 2 grown adults who respect each other. She knows everything about my past and still chose me. That's the kind of love I didn't even know existed back then. Sometimes, the people you save won't remember your sacrifices, but eventually, they'll remember why you stopped saving them. And that's when the story really ends.